Yes, it's chapter 5 of the book Connect to Correct by Wendy Ologe. Chapter 5 says connecting with your child. And I am your host, Amarachi Eze. So let's see the various ways we can connect with your child. There are various ways to connect with your child. You connect through building relationship. You connect through communication. And you also connect by turning yourself into a model. So let's see how we can build a relationship with our children. Homes should be built on resilient relationship, not on rigid rules. Parenting is the toughest relationship to build, so it requires more tools and knowledge. Your ability to correct an individual is majorly influenced by the level of relationship you have with them, your children inclusive. The truth is that you can only correct what you know. A child you don't build relationship with today won't let you into his life tomorrow. Most of us have parents whom we cannot let into our lives because they didn't consider relationship to be more important to them. They only controlled their child. You must begin to focus and prioritize and make relationship the anchor. It is the most important element over anything else in parenting. It is relationship that fosters connection, and connection itself is what builds empowerment, self-worth, and self-esteem. It takes away the anxiety of raising a child. Parent-child connection is what really matters. So, for you to build an amazing relationship with your child, you must accept your child for who they are. You will also be physically available and emotionally available. So why would you accept your child? So in accepting your child for who they are, I have this question for you. Do you love your child because of what they do or because of who they are? Children want to be accepted so badly that they will sometimes use unacceptable behaviors to gain attention. Acceptance can be conditional or unconditional. Unconditional acceptance is based on what the child is, while conditional acceptance focuses on what the child does, how they look. If the child behaves well or the child is intelligent, then we'll accept it. That's conditional acceptance. While unconditional is that you accept the child, whether the child is a girl or is a boy or the child is deformed, you accept the child for who he is. Being able to accept your child, a heavy crisis like dad or mom, I'm pregnant, depends on how well you accept her in the more common everyday things as she is growing up. We have heard cases of parents beat up their children because they got pregnant or do some sorts of inhumane actions against their children because of what they did. This is only accepting your child conditionally. Children raised with unconditional acceptance stand a much better chance of feeling good self-worth. They feel more secure in their relationship with you as a parent. Acceptance is key in parenting because it develops security. Many people today seek validation from others because first, they were parented with conditional acceptance. They were loved for what they did. Thus, they believe that before they are accepted, they must earn it. Your child needs your unconditional acceptance to be able to survive the waves children face growing up in our 21st century. Think about it. Is your acceptance conditional? Some parents keep saying, I wish my child was a boy or a girl, or my child was fair instead of being dark. That means your acceptance is conditional. That means if he had been a boy, you would love the child better. In most families, some children are more accepted than the others. Sometimes it could be because a particular child is smarter than the others or is better behaved. As much as it's human nature to accept conditionally, intentional parenting teaches you to intentionally accept your child without conditions. A lot of parents are still struggling with their own lack of good self-image and healthy self-esteem. Most people grew up in homes where you find little acceptance, or if you got any acceptance, it was conditional. That means on a performance. But you can break this cycle with your children using parenting education. Remember, you can't give what you don't have. So you really need to learn. Every child is special. Accept them for who they are. The accepted child will accept himself. Someone with poor sense of self-worth is a slave to people's opinions. He goes with anything people say. He has no opinion of his own. I believe you don't want that for your child. It's every parent's job to give his or her child a healthy sense of personal self-worth. And every parent who does that will be a hero to their child. Again, is your acceptance unconditional? The next is to be physically available. How will I make myself available to my child? What are the benefits of being physically available to your child? When you are available to your child, what they hear is, I am important. And when you are not available, it says, oh yes, I love you, but other things still come ahead of you. You are not really that important. There are other important things, of course, but always remember that these children will never be this age in their lives again. This is your only opportunity to make an impact. Any missed time is another missed opportunity. Sometimes your child just wants you to stop and just catch a glimpse of him. Sometimes they just want you to listen. Sometimes they just want to be encouraged, or sometimes they just want to be cheered. So be available in the home, at their school functions, important days in their lives. In one of the schools I know, the people were giving cane to flog other pupils because their parents did not come for parent-teachers meeting. Can you imagine that? Do you know how damaging that could be emotionally to the children that were flogged by their peers? Please, teachers, desist from such acts. Think of better consequences to give. When such things happen, it's not the fault of the child that the parents did not come. Flogging the child does nothing to the parent who is not available, but you only damage the child emotionally. Financial obligation is not enough. You must make out time to be there for your children. If your children no longer care about you being available and they only want your money, you have lost the game. Do you really think that meeting financial obligations alone makes you a good parent? No amount of gifts and meeting financial obligations can replace you. Children don't need presents. They need presence. So your presence is more important to them. If you invest in your child, you don't have to invest for your child. We have seen cases of parents who invested for their child and had plenty money in store for them. And when they are gone, the children squander the money. Why do you think this happened? Because the parents did not invest in their children. The only sure inheritance that you can leave behind is the investment you make in your child and not for the child. You should know that a child's life is in phases. Your responsibility to them shifts from time to time. What changes are you making to ensure you are present in your child's life? Remember, parenting can neither be delegated nor suspended for a while as we walk for the ring of fame and fortune. The growth of a child is irreversible. You can't pick it from where you left it after you reach the top in your career or money pursuits. It is easier to mold young children than to rehabilitate adults. So, be a present parent. And not just being present, be present with knowledge and skills to connect and raise these children. So how can we also be emotionally available for these children? Many parents are available physically but not available emotionally. Being emotionally available is about connection. As much as we usually focus on physical availability, whenever being available comes up, emotional availability is also very key to parenting relationship. If you find yourself always criticizing your children, oh, you didn't do that well. How many times will I have to teach you this? Oh, you still don't know how to write well at your age. Always blaming them. I would have finished this work if not that I came to pick you up from school. You people are the ones keeping me at home by this time. Always complaining about one thing or another. Why is this cup here? Why are you reading now? Why must you wash plates now? And it goes on and on. It shows that you are emotionally unavailable. There is a better way. Until you learn a better way, parenting would keep looking like trial and error. We just concluded the emotional intelligence course. That course is well loaded. It will help you learn better ways to be emotionally available for your child. The replay is still available. If you need it, check the description for details. With this course, you also learn to be accountable and also be affectionate to your child. So let's see how we can be accountable. Every parent is looking for who to hold accountable for their child's failure or inadequacy. Unfortunately, they're never thinking of sharing that responsibility. They don't think they should be held accountable in any way. It is easy to cast blames on someone else without thinking that the first person to accuse when you fail should be you. For everything your child becomes, you will be held accountable, if not by men, by God. Your child's caregivers and teachers are only supporters on this journey. You must be involved in raising your child. You have a major role to play. Social emotional learning will majorly come from you as a parent. That means your child acquiring social skills, how to interact with others, and also how to manage his emotions will majorly come from you, the parent, while the intellectual learning comes from the teachers. So you see, you're the one that should be majorly held accountable, because 80% of a child's success is from the social and emotional skills the child has, while only 20% comes from intelligent portions. There is a new trend of devastating emotional state for children. There are increased mental health challenges like increased drug abuse cases amongst teens, increased suicide rates in children, increased teens depression. I hear people blame nature, school systems, environment, and even God for all these mental health challenges. But blame every factor all you can. You, the parent, are the answer to many of your child's struggles. Did you know that the brain has the ability to rewire itself via the environment? Sadly, we're doing this negatively and adding to the struggles of our children. The truth is that children are now deprived of the basic foundations of a healthy childhood. We now have emotionally unavailable parents. I have seen parents who stay with their children all day, yet they are not available to their children emotionally. Many parents are emotionally imbalanced, so they find it difficult to be emotionally available. For you to raise an emotionally intelligent child, you must become one yourself. So do yourself good by purchasing that course. Check in the description, you will see how to get that course. It will go a long way to help you in your parenting journey. So let's see how we can be affectionate to our children. Give affection. Without it, children can perish. Affection is not just to your children, but also to your spouse. It's proving that the highest security you can give a child is loving your spouse and showing it. Having a happy family is one of the greatest things you can do for your child. I'm sure every parent loves their child. The problem is not if you love your child or not, but do you really show it? Or does your child understand it to be so? Think about it. When last did you tell your children, I love you? Some parents never heard that growing up, so they find it difficult, or they don't even bother to tell their children that. Also, parents tend to give affection more to younger children than the older ones. By the time children enter secondary schools, many parents practically stop pecking and hugging the child. That is if they were doing that at all. Of course, most teenagers tend to give us the notion that they don't need it, but in fact, they need affection the most, because if they don't get it, they will fulfill their needs of it the wrong way. Affection is a lifelong need. You must show affection to foster relationship. That is why husband and wife show affection to each other. And those that don't show affection, you see that they don't live happily. So affection is a lifelong need. Never say they already know I love them. Reaffirmation is key in fostering parenting relationship. So say it and show it. Another way I can connect with my child is through communication. You must understand that communication is key to your connecting with your child. You must learn how to speak the language your child understands. This quote by Lawrence Cohen of Playful Parenting buttresses this point. Children don't say, "I had a hard day. Can we talk?" They say, "Will you play with me?" That is the language that connects children to bonding. So how do you foster communication with your children? You have to create time. Nowadays, we live very busy lives. Many parents do 9 to 5 jobs and spend very little time with their children, especially during the weekdays. Also coupled with after-school activities and homeworks and all. This means that most children are usually on the run. You see parents hitting their children because they do not understand a concept while they are doing their assignment. The parents, under the pressure of time to attend to other things, so you see them hit their children, shout at them because they are not able to understand that concept. Connection is not just being there physically with your child. It means that your child feels supported and safe whenever he or she is with you. Do you know what comforts your child? This is part of connecting with your child. And these things change as they grow and develop. We must learn to become the students of our children. Do you know that 80% of adults feel their parents didn't really love them as children? Now, it's not lack of love that makes children feel this way. It's just that as a parent, you unconsciously create many barriers that shield your love. Become more intentional in creating connection with your child via communication and stop making excuses. Carve out quality time for your child. Fill up your emotional tank. Sitting in front of the television with your child while pressing your phone is not quality time. So create this time so that your child will feel secured while around you. Another way you can foster communication is by working on your emotion. How does it feel when your child throws a tantrum? That same way it feels to children when we constantly yell at them. It's called adult tantrum. Anger is a valid emotion, but it doesn't give you the right to dump it on someone else, especially your child. Every emotion is data and must be used diagnostically. If you cannot control your emotions as an adult, then you should not have the right to raise another human, especially your own child. Are you aware of who you are emotionally? Another way we can connect with our children is to turn ourselves into their model. Be that person you want your child to become. Until we understand that our children will do most of what we do and not just what we say, nothing will change. As Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. Do you want your child to value integrity? Then model integrity. Do you want your child to read books? Then read yourself. Do you want your child to be organized? Be organized too. Be the change you want to see. You should also teach value by modeling it. You will not be with your child when they will be making life-altering decisions. The best you can do is to equip them now with the tools he or she will necessarily need at such times. What values are you passing on to your child? Modeling helps you connect with your child, which in turn enables you to teach your values seamlessly. You cannot teach someone who doesn't believe in you. The best thing that can happen to any parent is having a child who will live their values in their absence. A child who will listen to their words even when they are gone. Your first role as a parent is to make your child believe you are his or her hero or role model. Remember, you will not be there at all times. Therefore, commit to becoming your child's role model. They learn by observing and drawing conclusions about what they think is important in life, regardless of what you teach consciously. Children learn by observing and drawing conclusions about what they think is important in life, regardless of what you teach consciously. Parents are not the only source children learn values. There is a place of peers as well as media, but it's been proven that if children have good self-esteem, it's family values, they are more likely to pick friends who share same or similar values. Also, research shows that children who have stronger relationship with their parents will have a better chance to see and filter through the values he or she picked from the parents, her world experiences, including the opinion of her peers. So we can become a model of our values by practicing the following. 1. Practicing what you preach. So become a model of your values by practicing what you preach. Then relating your life decisions to the values you portray. Talk about it to your child. For example, elections are around the corner. Tell them why you are voting Mr. A as president. Or you can even ask them the questions. Why are you voting Mr. A as president? Use this to emphasize your values. Another way you can model your values is by reinforcing expression of values. Whenever you see your child demonstrate a value that is important to you, recognize it. Talk about it. I'm happy you were honest with me about what happened in school today. I realized you did all the chores before you were told. That's what I call being responsible. Also, you should learn not to lecture. Don't lecture all the time. Seize the opportunity to connect when a situation comes up. Let them share their experiences and decisions. Then you take the chance to ask questions so they can think on their decision and the moral implications. Don't overshadow with your views. This resonates better than a lecturing section. Another way you can model your values is you bring up discussion starters. You can share an event that happened in your own life. There are so many. You can also choose a book or movie you can watch with your child with the goal of character building. Don't stop at seeing them alone. Also discuss it together. Also, let your children see you get involved in community development in the estate where you live, in the church, in your child's school. Your involvement helps them appreciate how the invisible works of others help each of us daily. So, in conclusion, your parenting journey is more about the time you spend with your children than the money you spend on them. So, parents, let's get intentional. Stop assuming parenting. See you in our next review.